In this video, we'll show you the features of our new Delta ROV USB joystick. The panel is anodized blue aluminum. The box is a metal box, is powder coated orange. The handles are stainless steel. In the back, you have a plug-in socket, which are IP67. They are well secured to the joystick box, so that if you move the controller, then you will not lose your connection of the USB device on Windows. The panel is sealed with an O-ring underneath. The screws are sealed. The buttons themselves are splash proof and has a seal underneath. They are backlit. The encoders, basically they're digital encoders, and they go into our controller separately from the halophilic joystick so that they do not influence the analog signal. The LCD displays the value of the gain and the trim settings. The controller in the joystick is the Delta ROV controller. All these options are available on our store at deltarov.com separately, so if you just want to have the panel, the buttons, the controller, etc., you just purchase what you want. These joysticks are Hall effect and they are our low-cost option, but we also have a professional joystick option available on our website. I'm now going to plug the joystick in, and you can see here on the Windows control panel that Windows is going to detect the Delta ROV joystick just as another game controller. And if you go into the properties of the controller, here you can test the joystick and make sure that it behaves according to normal behavior of a joystick. If it works well here, it will work well in Q ground control. Starting Q ground control to show you here. If we go to the joystick and to the make sure that the active joystick is the Delta ROV joystick. Now, as we know, there are 16 buttons available, and if you want to have access to the other 16 buttons, you need to press a shift button. Now, for the first 16 buttons, the joystick behaves normally, but for instance, if you want to access the shift functions, if we're opening the gripper, for instance, our controller is going to press shift for you, so basically it's a seamless operation. So we now have access to 32 buttons, but there's only 26 on the joystick panel, as these are just the useful buttons to have, or else the panel will just be too big. The other functions here, if you see the 4 balls, we're going to show you how our joystick functions. For instance, if I go full lateral, you can see that when I push the joystick fully to the left, I have a full left command on the lateral. Now, if I go and adjust the settings of the gain for that axis for 50%, even if I give 100% of my joystick, Q ground control only receives 50% command. Now this is useful, for instance, if you're working with the ROV in 100% gain, full thrust, but when you're trying to rotate the ROV, the command just makes the ROV go too fast, so you can reduce the gain for the axis of rotation, so that when you give full command on your joystick, for instance here I have it dialed at 32%, so the ROV is only going to give 32% of clockwise or counterclockwise command. If you want to reset, you just press the encoder and it will reset the value back. Now for the trims, it works similarly. So if we go, for instance, lateral, and then I'm giving a trim command. Now note I'm not touching the joystick, but Q ground control receives the signal to control the thrusters. Now this is particularly useful if you're fighting against the current and you want to have some sort of level of station keep. Another feature that we've added, I'm going to reset this here back to 0, is let's say that we're fighting the currents and we're trying to stay in station um, here with the joystick, and this works for us, and we just want to lock these values in. So I'm just gonna basically press the button, and it's gonna remember these values in the trims. Basically, by pressing the button, it takes the values from the joystick and shows and puts it inside the trim. Here, let's have a look at the LCD module. You can see that it's displaying all the trims that I've programmed by pressing the button. Now, if I want to go back to normal flying mode, I just press that button again with the joystick in center. It's just going to go back everything to 0. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that
gain is 25%.
25% in manual mode, and we're going to arm the ROV. And we're going to show you rotation of the thrusters. So I'm just going to give a forward command here, and the initial at such a low gain of 25%, I need to give a fairly good trim command before the command is properly applied here on the thrusters. Now I'm at 164 value on the trim, maximum being 512 or minus 512. Now I'm just going to press the button to null my thrusters again, and I'm going to show you here. We have some buttons here, for instance, the course trim. See, if I'm playing with my trims right now, you can see it only increases with the value of multiplier of 4. But if I want to go faster, I press course trim, and you can see that the steps are much bigger. So you can basically adjust your trims like that. The other features I have, if I want to put the backlight on, or this is 50%, put them on full if it's outside and you want to have more brightness, or turn these off. This basically concludes the demonstration for this joystick. If you have any question, please visit our forum at forum.deltarov.com. You can also visit our store at deltarov.com and ask any questions, and we'll give you the answers. Thanks for watching.